Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and we are live. There is breaking news, probably the biggest lead we've had on this case so far. We are still live, and we're going to be covering this because I expect this will last for a little while. We're still waiting for concrete news, but we have some information I want to break to you so you understand what's happening today. And I'm also happy we have John Hubbard, detective, private investigator of 35 years of experience, amazing wisdom. He's offered so much. So thank you so much for calling in, John, to help us get some insight on what's going on here today.
You're welcome.
All right, so John, here's to recap for John, who I know has been on the run. John actually did so. John's going to tell you. We can talk about what you were doing today. Yes, John? Where you went?
If you want to, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'll get to that in a second as well. But John, to update you and everybody else, so at the Myakkahatche, I can't say that word. Myakkahatche Creek Environmental Park. This is the area where the Mustang was found and where the parents had said Brian was last seen. It opened today, or it was yesterday. The first time it recently opened, and Roberta and Christopher Laundrie have now took the opportunity of it being open to start going to look for Brian Laundrie. They went, and we have a quote here. I want to go to Brian's quote because this comes from the lawyer. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from their lawyer, Steve Bertolino.
Bertolino?
Correct.
Okay.
Chris and Roberta Laundrie went to the Myakkahatche Creek Environmental Park this morning to search for Brian. The FBI and the Northport Police Department were informed last night of Brian's parents' intention, and they met Chris and Roberta there this morning. After a brief search off a trail that Brian frequented, some articles belonging to Brian were found. As of now, law enforcement is conducting a more thorough investigation of that area. So that's where we have. WFLA has been live. They're now taking questions, but we've been breaking the story. There is a tent up. We've been able to look in it. There's a tent, a cooler. There are a pretty significant amount of people in this area. We can't see what they found exactly. However, we have seen a lot more presence, John. I know you told us to keep an eye for that. Some mobile units. One from Lee County came in, and the biggest news is the fact that the medical examiner from Sarasota, I guess, is that the same as a coroner, John? Would you call a medical examiner a coroner? Because
if they're out there, yes, I would.
Okay, so the coroner then, medical examiner, has now been called from Sarasota. That's been confirmed by WFLA, who's now on its way to report to this resort, as well. So now, obviously, John, a lot of speculation as to what we know. When we first saw this and we saw, they showed up and there's articles of clothing. It wasn't even clothing. They haven't said what the articles are. We're unclear what the articles are. Typically that's clothing you'd be referring to. We don't know the articles.
Is it the clothing that he left with? Or is it clothing from a previous camping trip?
All fantastic questions. We don't know yet. We're still waiting. However, obviously, this is pretty big news. It's interesting, though, that it was found by the Laundries and that the lawyer is leaking it. However, now with the medical examiner, coroner showing up to the scene, there's a lot of speculation of could there be a body. Now, if there's a body, then it's a whole game changer, right? If there's a body.
It is, right. And the medical examiner, in my opinion, would not be there if there was not a body, period. Every death investigation has to be released by the medical examiner first. So that makes sense that they're out there.
So the biggest red flag for you is if the medical examiner is indeed coming out from Sarasota, something is there.
There's definitely, to me, if in fact they show up on scene, there's a body there. There's no reason for them to be there. None. Their authority and position in this is to find out, the cause of death and whether or not they're going to release it and who's going to sign a death certificate, the whole 9 yards.
Right. So at the beginning of the investigation, they need that there in order to even continue.
If they show up, I don't care what anybody tells you, there's a body. There's a body involved. They're not coming out there for a dead animal or anything else. They're coming out there for human remains, a human body. There's no other reason for them to be there.
So, all right. So, obviously, we're waiting all day for them to confirm this. We're going to keep reporting, but I wanted to cut this clip so you guys know why this is such an urgent and suddenly. This is a pretty big moment then, John. You would agree that to know that these mobile units are showing up, to know that we're all breaking, that there's more investigation, that the coroner's coming in, the fact that they're saying articles were found, this is all could be, Brian Laundrie his body might be there. Again, speculating.
And I said early on that even if there was a dead body, not even if they found him moving. If he was there would be a huge law enforcement presence out there, even with a dead body. Because this case is so big that everybody's going to want to show up. Every police department, sheriff, the state police, the FBI, everybody wants to show their face at this deal. So they're all going to be there.
Oh man, this is a big deal. So, how long do you think I mean, when will they tell us today? If the examiner shows up and they find him, what do you think the estimate, knowing if we find a body or if we find Brian's body?
I think that they want to tell everybody. If they found a body, that's first. Secondly, is it Brian Laundrie? If it is, I don't think they're going to hesitate and wait around to tell us about it. I think they'll tell us today. I do. Now, you want to know how long? I don't know. They're going to have some positive ID. If it is in fact him, he hasn't been dead long enough that he's not recognizable. They're going to know right away if it's him or not. And they probably, if they found a body, they already know whether it's him or not. It's just a matter of they're going to wait. When are they going to tell us? I don't believe they're going to hold that information for a very long time. I think that they will tell us sooner than later today. That's my opinion.
Wow. So breaking news, you're here. Now, again, I should make sure it's clear. John's not on this case. John is not part of this case anyway, but he's been a detective of Tampa Bay area, Pinellas County, a lot of years of experience. He's a private eye. He's been giving us a lot of really good and correct insight on this case. But that's what I was worried. Obviously, the news is being very careful to say these things. However, they're acknowledging, medical examiner showing up is a big deal. And I feel like that's what sent off a lot of people.
You see that medical examiner there? It goes back to I hear what you say, see what you do. If you see that medical examiner on scene, there's a body out there.
Well, there we go. So, all right. So, and what other body would it be? Especially if why? Here's where I'm confused. Why would the lawyer leak out this first? Like, because if I guess they found some articles and then the body nearby. Wouldn't he have just not said anything? Because he would have known, okay, well, this is, because let's be honest and let's be blunt, right? If Brian Laundrie's not with us, that sucks for his family and so many things, but it's, as a lawyer, in a way, it's going to help the case for the parents too, right? Because they didn't go running. Right. So why would you put this out there and before the body was found is where I'm thrown off. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, because he doesn't, he's not looking at this from a law enforcement standpoint, He's looking at it for his clients and, quite frankly, for publicity for himself. In this case, it might not be helping the Laundries, but it dang sure is helping Mr. Bertolino, Right. It's definitely helping him get some publicity and notoriety. And so that's really what he cares about.
Because, I mean, this quote that they, Chris and Roberta are going to this park this morning to search for Brian. Like, they're like, we're doing it because you guys won't. It almost feels like there's a narrative brewing of you guys didn't do it. So now that it's open, we're going to go, which is clearly.
You're going to, if in fact, now we're playing the big what if game, which I don't like to do, but if in fact they find Brian's body out there after all this big search, Northport would be the first ones in line that are going to really not look very professional.
Right. How did you not find it?
Let me tell you, because those dogs they even have cadaver dogs that will find bodies, period. And they should have been searching, period. And they've already had the Laundries out there, last week? And they still, so let's just wait and see. I've told you, I'm not changing my story a bit. I'd be shocked if Brian stayed in that area to begin with. And then if he is dead, what was the cause of death? Was it self-inflicted? Or, did he get bit by a poisonous snake? I don't know. If he were out there, it would be my opinion initially, knowing nothing, that it'd be self-inflicted.
And just so we're clear, here's some footage from Fox. Chris and Roberta were at the reserve today.
I can't see anything.
Oh, okay, well, but there's just some footage of them talking with people at the reserve. It's hard to tell what's going on, but they are there. So some are speculate. Again, a lot of speculation this morning. Some are speculating are they there to ID the body. From what we've been told, again, by the statement from the lawyer, they went to go search. They were informed. They met them this morning. After a brief search, articles belonging to Brian were found. As of now, law enforcement is conducting more and thorough investigation. Not a body, nothing else. However, they've been there, and now the coroner, from a lot of these news outlets, this is Fox 11 Tampa Bay, coroner was called, WFLA has called it as well. Now, I haven't seen them pull in, but they've been called, is what they say. So, John, again, your big thing is once we see them arrive, then we know that's a big deal.
And I'll tell you something else. This is, again, my opinion. I do not believe law enforcement is going to allow the family to identify the body. Even if it is Brian, they're not going to traumatize them to see this decayed body of their kid. They have DNA. They have a lot of other ways of identifying that body than having the family look at it. So I don't believe that's going to happen.
Well, all right, we have a lot more to cover. John, stick around for another minute, so I got some more questions, but I wanted to clip this so you understand why this is big news. We are going to be live, so if you haven't yet joined us, come on over, hit subscribe, hit the bell for all alerts so you don't miss out on these alerts. This could be a huge day and the end of the search for Brian Laundrie. Again, massive speculation, but according to John's gut, and I do trust John's gut, something's up here. If the medical examiner shows up, a body might be here, and we will break it for you once we have the information.
You're going to see two things. You're going to see that medical examiner, and you're going to see a huge law enforcement presence.
Well, that's already starting to happen. There's huge mobile units coming in.
Okay, I can't see anything.
The reporters are saying we haven't seen this many people here at the reserve yet. Now, it doesn't feel like it's, again, I think you're right. There still needs to be more from what you've gathered, but it's starting to, something's up. Something is clearly up. So stay tuned.
I would agree.
And make sure if you guys haven't already, can you please go to John to Hubbard Investigations on YouTube? In fact, let me make sure I have this open because you have just posted a really great video. Everyone go watch. I got to go check you put epic fail. I got to go adjust it. But guys, if you haven't already subscribed to Hubbard Investigations, please go do. We're so grateful for him and his insight, and we look forward to having him more on this and other cases as we move forward. So go through to subscribe. There is Hubbard Investigations. I'm going to put it in the chat. But John, always a pleasure to have you here. Don't go anywhere. We're not done, live viewers. We're going back to this feed. However, I just wanted to make sure we got a quick clip so you guys know what's happening. Join us on the live stream right now. I'm going to put it right there on the left. We are still live. As this breaks, we will break it for you. Thank you guys so much for watching here on Popcorn Planet. News every day, 12 Eastern Standard Time.